Welcome to another episode of the Rocky Garza Show. I am your host, Rocky Garza. I'm so glad you are with us today. What we are doing today is we are actually walking into part 2 of the shoulds are killing you. If you catched last week's episode, that was the shoulds are killing you part 1. Today, we are jumping into part 2, where we look at what is the implication, what is the impact and the effect of what the shoulds are doing and how they are robbing us of the opportunity to build the life we really want. Before we begin, I want to remind you, as always, if you are looking to see how do you get plugged in and involved in our next virtual event that we have for you, we'd love for you to be at. Make sure and go to rockygarza.com/achievingmore. Again, that's rockygarza.com/achievingmore, all one word together at the end, to see our latest event we have coming up. Register for free, and we would love to have you join us at our next live free event. As we jump in today, we are looking at escaping the shoulds, right? We're looking at the reality that the shoulds are killing us. And what I want to focus on today, just a quick recap, if you remember from last time, we really looked at, what are the shoulds doing in our life? What are they doing to us? And we looked at over the last 10 years, sort of what we've looked at. We should do more of this, or we should do less of this, or we should have this, or we should have that. And really we were able to sort of focus in and go, wait a second, what are the shoulds causing me to do? And as we looked at it, we said the shoulds cause us to freeze. They cause us to act erratically. They're ultimately robbing us of the opportunity to really build the life that we really want to live. And so today what I want to do is I want to dive into part 2 of the shoulds. The question I want to kick off is this. What are the shoulds costing you? What are the shoulds in your life costing you? Do you know? Have you ever taken a moment to take a step back and ask yourself the question, what are the shoulds costing you? You see, I find over and over again, we find ourselves in this reactive part of our life where we wake up in a month or 6 months or a year or 5 years, or we wake up in a decade and we go, where am I at and how did I get here? And what have I been doing to arrive at this place? And oftentimes I find the answer to that is we have been living a life full of shoulds. We've been doing all the things we think we should do. We've been doing all the things we think we're supposed to do. We've been doing all the things we've been told we should do our entire life. And so my question for you is this: what are the shoulds costing you? Are they costing you the opportunity to build a life that you deeply believe in? Are they costing you the opportunity to build a life you actually want? Are they costing you the opportunity to really see, know, and understand who you are so that you can spend your life not convincing of others what makes you valuable, but more importantly, living a life of true conviction that is based on what you know to be true about who you are? Today, we're going to explore what the shoulds are costing you. Oftentimes when I speak with my clients, we talk about the shoulds, and the shoulds are costing us. They're costing us this overwhelming feeling where we feel tired, we feel burnt out, we feel sort of, how does the phrase go? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Now, oftentimes we find that the shoulds cause us to have this feeling, and they typically cause us to have this feeling. I find over and over and over that they cause us to feel tired, they cause us to feel burnout, and ultimately burnout is one of the top 3 reasons why someone stops pursuing their dream career or ultimately stops their business. It's because we get so overwhelmed by everything that we should do that we absolutely stop doing the things that we want to do. Now, I want to be clear with you, and we're going to talk about this a lot over the next few episodes. We often talk a lot around here about the things that we actually want, the things that we really want. And I want to be clear with you. I'm not describing the end-all, be-all. We're going to have unlimited funds. We do buy unlimited things. We live this unlimited life. I actually don't believe that is what most of us want. We have an idea of those things. I often find that's what we think we want because to us that represents freedom. To us that represents clarity. To us that represents lack of worry, lack of anxiety, lack of fear. All of the things represent a feeling we're longing for, and I believe oftentimes it's taking the chaos and finding peace. But many times the shoulds in our life are robbing us of our peace, because we feel overwhelmed by everything we're supposed to do, and we don't spend near as much time on the things that we want to be doing. So let's look at it like this. Burnout comes from ignoring that voice in our head. Burnout comes from ignoring that voice in our head that says, this is what I want, this is who I am, and this is why I believe it. Now, burnout comes because we're doing and pursuing what other people want us to do. Burnout comes because we're giving our energy hoping for a result that will change our life, yet the result is not actually the thing that we're looking for. We recognize when it comes to our capacity to think about the shoulds, to look at burnout, to being tired, the reality is it takes a toll on us. It takes an emotional toll. We're in constant battle with ourselves all the time. Do you find yourself asking yourself these questions? Is it them or is it me? Like, am I the problem or are they the problem? Do you find yourself asking yourself often, like, is it right or is it wrong? Is it good or is it bad? Like, is it guilt or is it greatness? Is it self-worth or is it selfish? And we find ourselves in this emotional toll because we keep going and going and going, yet all of the ideas about what success is, about what quality of life is, they're all built on somebody else's version of what life is supposed to be. They're not built on our version of what we want our life to be. Because you see, the shoulds are killing many of us. We begin to harbor this level of resentment towards this thing or this person that's keeping us from pursuing what we want. We find it, and we're going to discuss episode over episode here. Oftentimes, I literally just got off a call just now with someone, and I said, "What's the problem?" And they said, "It's me." I said, "What do you mean it's you?" I said, "You diagnosed that pretty quickly." They said, "I know what I'm supposed to do, and I think I know how to do it. For some reason, I just can't find the energy or the desire or the motivation to do it." I said, "What do you mean you can't find the motivation to do it?" And I say verbatim out of their mouth, they say, "I don't think I can find the motivation to do it because I feel like I've lost who I am. I have succumbed to everything that I should do, and I have let go of the things that I believe I want to do. Not anything and everything, but the things I want to do in regards to what I think is actually possible for me. And I feel like I've let go of that. I feel like I've lost that." And so I want us to remind ourselves that we're looking at the shoulds, we've identified the shoulds, we've seen some of the implication of the shoulds. And so we can even see what the shoulds are costing us at this point. So once we identify them and once we see them and we can really see that it's not creating the life that we actually want, what do? How do we begin to shift our focus away from what the shoulds are doing versus the way that we want them to be, the way that we want them to create this level of interaction in our life? Well, I think it can be broken down like this. If we want to be able to see our perspective shift, then we're going to need to be able to redefine success and happiness. See, oftentimes we're doing the things we think we should be doing because we believe that's what's going to lead to a happy life. We believe that's what's going to create success. We believe that's what's going to lead to some other place. When the reality is that's just simply not the case. Very rarely does that occur. So we have to be able to redefine success and happiness. We got to challenge this conventional idea, the conventional definitions of success and happiness to include this level of overwhelming fulfillment and joy due to our capacity to create an accomplishment or to gain something in our hands that says, this is who I am or what I want. No, it allows us to take a step back and go, if you could just sit with yourself for just a second, right? Just sit with yourself for a second as you're listening. What do you want? I want to implore you to ask yourself that question. What do you want? What do you want? I know some of us go in life, or in my marriage, in my business, my friends, with myself. Rocky, what exactly are you asking me? What do you mean, what do I want? And my response to you is yes. That's what I'm asking you. In your life, everywhere, what do you want? Because often, I find when I talk to individuals about what they want, when I ask them about what they want, when we're in a dialogue about what it is that they want, they tend to automatically assume it means dream. We mentioned this a little bit earlier. Now, I'm not talking about dream. We think this means impossible. We think this means, what is it, the BHAG? We think this means big, hairy, audacious goal. What do I want? Like if I could have anything? And our default response oftentimes here is, I want to win the lottery. You want to win the lottery? Yeah. Why? No, like, what do you want? I think oftentimes we tend to assume that wants are just for everyone else. Success is just for everyone else. Really getting and building a life that I want, that's for everybody else. It's not for me. I think for us to find ways to escape the shoulds, to recognize the shoulds are killing us, we have to change our mind here. We have to change our mindset here. Like, if there is something today, if there's something today that I want you to be able to walk away with, it's the ability to begin to talk about what you want, especially the things that you want today, without this negative connotation or somehow this idea that it means that you're selfish. Looking in the mirror and deciding what it is that you want today is not selfish. It's ideally a representation of the self-worth that you have and your desire to build something meaningful that not only impacts you, but for many of you, impacts people beyond what you could ever imagine. But they will not be impacted without our ability to clearly define what it is that we want. One of my VIP clients, I want to be clear with you, he has all the money, has the house, actually has a house of a former presidential candidate. He's got a business and watches, and he's got a lot of APs and Royal Oaks, and they're awesome. He can fly however he wants, go wherever he wants. And every week we start our session together. He and I sit down in his office at his organization, and I ask him, what do you want? And he just kind of rolls his eyes and chuckles because he knows the first question I'm going to ask when we get started is, what do you want? Because I want to come back to a reminder that he has the ability to make it happen if he'll think beyond the destination, if he'll think beyond the ability at some point to say, look what I've done, look what I've accumulated, look at all these, because that's not actually what he's going for. I know it's not what he's going for. If he'll let go of this sort of self-imposed shoulds mentality of the chaos and feeling like he's late to the game and so on, then we get to come back into this place and say, now, what do you want today? See, the chaos in his life is not because he doesn't have what he wants. The chaos in his life is because he hasn't defined what he wants. Because you know the kind of peace that he finds when he goes home? The kind of peace he finds when he spends present time with his children? The kind of peace he finds on a date night, the kind of peace that he finds in a high-level executive meeting where he's listening and doesn't feel overwhelmingly responsible for everyone's decisions, but simply holds the space to allow them to choose and make decisions based on the reason they were hired. So here's some hard questions for us today. Some hard questions for you to answer. Who's to blame for the chaos in your life? Who's responsible for changing that chaos? What's robbing you of your peace on a daily basis? Because isn't success ultimately daily peace? I've recently gone through multiple calls with new potential clients. I would say 80% of them, the number one solution they're looking for, the number one thing in their life that they want is peace. Not prosperity, not a 7-figure agency, not the ability to have 4 brokers lined up and say this is what it's going to look like, not to say I created a downline with 5 new agents, not to say that we're going to have this many closings this month. That's not what my clients are saying. When I say what's the number one problem you're facing, the number one solution you're looking for, what's the thing in life you actually want? Over and over and over again, they say peace. So the difficult question for you today is, who is robbing you of your peace? And who's in control of getting it back? See, as we continue to walk through our Achieving More Than Success system, today diving into part 2 of The Shoulds Are Killing You, I want us to be reminded that this constant view of the destination is keeping your eyes focused so far out of the future you've lost sight of today. Your eyes being so built on what you think you should have, you have lost all ability for you to ask yourself, what do I want? Shoulds are robbing you of your conviction about what it is that you really want, and the lack of clarity about life and building that and who we are supposed to be is creating chaos on the day-to-day. Believe that now you should have some insight and tools and resources to see things more clearly. Tomorrow, I want you to consider this. I want you to wake up and say, what is robbing me of my peace? Who is responsible for the chaos in my life? And be willing to answer yourself honestly before you point the finger outward. Go to the mirror and look in the mirror and ask yourself, who is robbing me of my peace? Who is in control of bringing me out of the chaos? And I believe not only will you find that it is possible, you may find that you may need a little help. Over the course of the next few weeks here in each episode, we're going to dive into what we refer to as the great life myth. The idea that maybe we've all been sold something that wasn't exactly what we wanted. Maybe we've all been sold the great life myth. How do we now find ourselves walking into the life that we actually want? As always, please make sure, hop on to rockygarza.com/achievingmore to figure out how you can join us in our next free virtual event. And as you head off today, we so appreciate you being with us and would ask for you to consider to yourself, are the shoulds killing you? What is robbing you of your peace? What is causing the chaos in your life? And ultimately, friend, who is responsible for reconciling the chaos in your life? I want to encourage you. You don't have to do it alone. rockygarza.com/achievingmore, and we look forward to seeing you next week.